One of them is what I'm for the moment calling friendship entropy. I don't like to say this, I'm embarrassed about it for two reasons, but I have 1,000 friends at Facebook. 1,000, I must be so popular. And of course that's not, so one reason I don't like to say it is that it sounds like it's bragging, although you may have tens of thousands of friends, I don't know. 1,000 to me sounds like a lot. And the other reason I don't like to mention it is that it's a sign of my own personal failing. I have 1,000 friends because I write, and so I'm in a sort of broadcast mode where many more people read, I hope, read what I'm writing than, that I have personal relationships with. And so they friend me, and my strategy has been, because I'm a coward, has been to say, sure, absolutely, I don't know who you are, but you are now my friend. I say yes to that. I just don't like saying no for bad, because I'm weak, that's why. So I now have 1,000 friends. This is a type of entropy, however, in which my real friends are people who I know pretty well, or people who I've actually met and liked, but I may not remember their name. They're all the same. They're all this gray cloud of names. This is what entropy looks like. It all becomes a gray mass. And so for me, my social network at Facebook does not at all reflect my actual social network, the people that I care about, the people who I love. They're there too, but they're just another name in a list. This is a very difficult problem to solve because there are social pressures to keep things, to expand your social network, and it's very difficult to taxonomize, to provide a taxonomy of friends. First of all, because we don't have one. I don't know, we've met once. Sorry, I've forgotten your name and you're not looking at it. There you go. We've met once at Le Web, correct? And we spoke just now. I don't have a word for our relationship. We're not quite friends, that would be too strong, nothing personal. We're not simply acquaintances. I don't have a word for our relationship. I don't need one, that's fine, it's not a problem. Generally, I don't need one, except I would if I were trying to provide a taxonomy for a social network. The second problem with doing taxonomies for social networks, besides the fact that they are entirely arbitrary, we don't have real-world taxonomies for this, is that in making these decisions, of course, I am affecting the relationship. So if I were to promote you to friend, you would either be mystified or pleased or annoyed at me or something, and you would feel like you have to respond one way or another. If you don't friend me, are you insulting me? Can we have these asymmetric relationships? We don't know. So this is a terribly difficult problem. It may not be soluble, and it's unlikely to be capable of being solved simply on paper. This is something that we are going to have to work through as the new generation starts to inhabit these spaces. And finally, the last little topic is what these systems do to our sense of self, which we don't know yet, because we are living through this. But it seems to me clear that we will have multiple selves, that we want convergence. Everybody wants convergence because we have too many mailboxes, if nothing else. Of course we want convergence. We don't like living lives that are splintered by technology. That's not good. We want the convergence, but we don't want simply a convergence of technology. And if we get a convergence of technology, it will not be a convergence of selves. We are going to want to, I believe, maintain multiple selves across multiple social networks, which is what we currently do. We are slightly different people in each network, and each network gives us a different set of things we can do. The networks make different decisions about how to constitute sociality, what the taxonomy, so to speak, of sociality is. So that at Twitter, the people this is a conscious decision that Twitter made, that you can follow people, but they don't have to follow you. So you see your list of people who are following you, and you are writing to them. I'm sorry, you see the list of people you are following. And so you enter your messages into your box, and you probably have the sense that you are sending messages to that list of people. But you're not. You're sending messages to the people who are following you, not to the people you are following. There's nothing wrong with this, but that's a type of asymmetry in the system that seems to work. Twitter seems to work pretty well. you or I, if we were designing Twitter, might have done it differently. We might have said, these relationships have to be symmetrical. So Twitter makes one type of decision. Skype makes a different decision. Skype lets us decide whether we will accept random phone calls or not, and that changes the nature of the sociality. LinkedIn lets me try to contact somebody because I know you and you know him and he knows her and she knows him and I want to talk to him, and LinkedIn thinks, oh, this is fine. This is like me being friends with him. That's LinkedIn's view. That seems to work as well. Each of these systems makes decisions about what they think the network of sociality is like. Those shape us, and we are thus different people in different contexts and different social relationships in those systems, and that's, I believe, what we want. We don't want a single system because that's just not rich enough for us. All of these different ways of interacting, of being social, have their value. If you look at, this is a totally random Twitter page of mine. If you go through and try to categorize what people are twittering about, what they think Twitter is for, just on a single page, for a single person, for me, you get this enormous range of why people are twittering. Some are doing status updates, some are doing reviews, some are saying witty things, some are being technical, some are being marketers, some are asking for help, some are just I don't even know what they're doing. I don't know why somebody would Twitter that. People use even the single system in a variety of multiple ways. We fill up we fill it up any way we want. In fact, a fundamental distinction is some of us Twitter having the feeling that we're Twittering to a social group, and some of us Twitter thinking that we're Twittering in public. I tend to think I'm Twittering in public. This is from dinner last night. Lucia is Twittering to her social group, her actual social group, the small group, the dozens of people, not the hundreds of people. That's a fundamental distinction. We will use these tools the way that we want. We will use them in different ways, even when they give us particular tools. So we're back to the elevator problem, except that mobiles, especially mobiles connected to a net, are so much more interesting. So many more possibilities. Elevators just go up or down, and we can't predict what's going to happen to them. Mobiles with social networks are hugely complex. They touch almost everything social about us, and we are obviously social creatures. And they're ubiquitous, and they know where they are. This is a remarkable technology that we have been given, and now we have to figure out what are they going to be? What are we going to do with them? We can't, because of the elevator effect, we simply cannot predict exactly how they're going to be used, how we're going to associate with one another in these new remarkable spaces that we have. We will use them, we will abuse them, we will do things that Buongiorno thinks never even considered we might do, and some of which they may hate that we're doing. We will come up with ideas that Buongiorno will adopt or reject wisely or not so wisely, but we will do what we can and want with these systems, with any of these new social networking systems, especially ones on mobiles that are so rich with possibility. Which means that the question I raised, I want to come back to just to end with, which is I've been talking about this as if social networking's shape has been determined by what's happened on computers and on laptops, by MySpace and Facebook and so forth. And it seems to me, no doubt that that is going to be and has been influential in shaping our thinking about what we can do together socially and digitally. But it's not at all clear to me that mobiles are a subset of social networks. That it's, you take Facebook and you shrink it down and now you got a social network on a mobile. This is not a mobile, it's a clicker, but you know what I mean. That in fact, it may not at all be the case that mobile social networking is an important, ubiquitous version of social networking. It is conceivable. It is conceivable that given the generational change that's happening, the ubiquity of these devices, that they in fact will be a transformative agent of social networking. I don't know, but I very much look forward to finding out. So, thank you very much.